Hello and welcome. Here, learning English transforms into an inspiring journey. Today, we delve into the remarkable life of one of history's most influential leaders, Nelson Mandela. This isn't merely a biography. It is a tale of hope, resilience, and unwavering resolve. By listening to this story, you can enhance your English vocabulary, pronunciation, and comprehension. More than that, it serves as a powerful inspiration to pursue big dreams and to persevere, regardless of the challenges life presents. Prepare yourself for one of the most compelling and motivational stories ever told. Let's begin the life story of Nelson Mandela, the man who reshaped a nation. Nelson Mandela's journey began on July 18, 1918, in Viso, a small and peaceful village in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. His given name at birth was Ralilela Mandela, which in the Xhosa language translates to pulling the branch of a tree. Colloquially, some also interpret this name as troublemaker, a title that would later seem fitting for his bold spirit in confronting injustice. He was born into the Thembu royal family, a lineage celebrated for its deep history and vibrant culture. His father, Gadla Henry Mfakaniiswa, held a respected position as a chief and an advisor to the Thembu king. While Mandela's family was not affluent, they commanded great respect within their community. His mother, Nosekeni Fanny, was a devout Christian who instilled in him the values of kindness, humility, and faith. Mandela's childhood was modest but full of happiness. He resided in a simple hut constructed from mud and straw, set amidst open fields and rolling hills. There was no electricity, running water, or modern conveniences, yet Mandela felt a sense of freedom and joy. As a boy, he loved to run barefoot through the fields, look after cattle, and swim in the local streams. He enjoyed playing traditional Xhosa games with his friends and would listen to the elders share stories by the fire in the evenings. These tales, frequently about courageous warriors and leaders, ignited a spark within young Mandela's heart. One day, his father shared a profound piece of wisdom with him. A real leader is not someone who seeks power for himself, but one who serves his people. These words would resonate with Mandela for the rest of his life. Tragedy struck when Mandela was just 9 years old. His father became ill and passed away. This was a profound loss for the young boy, and it marked a significant turning point in his life. Following his father's death, Mandela's mother took him to live with Chief Janjantaba Dalindibo, a royal leader of the Thembu people. Chief Janjantaba welcomed Mandela into his household, treating him as his own son. For the first time, Mandela experienced a life that extended beyond his small village. He lived in the chief's palace, where he had the opportunity to observe meetings and learn about leadership, tradition, and responsibility. At the age of 7, Mandela started attending a local Methodist school. It was there that his teacher, Miss Mdingane, gave him the English name Nelson, as it was customary for African children to be given English names in schools. Though Mandela did not grasp why he needed a new name, he accepted it and dedicated himself to his education. He soon distinguished himself as a diligent student, full of curiosity about the world. He developed a passion for English literature, geography, and history, particularly the stories of African heroes who resisted colonial domination. Mandela often said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." This conviction spurred him to study diligently and to dream of a better future. As Mandela matured, he grew increasingly conscious of the inequalities surrounding him. South Africa was then governed by the system of apartheid, which enforced the separation of black and white people in all aspects of life. Black citizens were denied the right to vote, own land, or reside in the same areas as white people. The unfairness of this system was visible everywhere to Mandela. At 16, Mandela underwent a traditional Xhosa initiation ceremony that marked his transition into manhood. During the ceremony, the elders spoke of the duties of a man, but they also expressed their sorrow over the oppression of their people under apartheid. This experience solidified in Mandela a profound sense of duty to fight for justice and equality. When Mandela was 19, Chief John Jintaba arranged a marriage for him, but Mandela had different aspirations. He wished to pursue his education and forge his own path. In a bold move, he ran away to the vibrant city of Johannesburg. In Johannesburg, a completely new world opened up to him. The city was full of energy but also rife with challenges. Black individuals worked long hours for minimal wages and lived in impoverished conditions, while white people held all the wealth and privilege. To support himself while continuing his studies, Mandela took a job as a night watchman at a gold mine. He lived in a small, crowded room and often faced hunger, but he never surrendered his dream. He held a firm belief that education was the key to unlocking a brighter future. Eventually, Mandela enrolled at the University of Witwatersrand to study law. As one of the few black students at the university, he faced discrimination, but these challenges only fortified his resolve. During this period, Mandela joined the African National Congress, ANC, a political party dedicated to fighting for the rights of black South Africans. He participated in secret meetings, listening to impassioned speeches and contributing his own ideas for a more just South Africa. Mandela envisioned a nation where every person, irrespective of race, could live together in peace and with equal rights. He aspired to create a country where children could play without fear, families could secure their futures, and justice would be the guiding principle. This vision became the central purpose of his life, setting him on a path filled with immense challenges, sacrifices, and pain. When Mandela arrived in Johannesburg, he was a young man with great dreams. The city buzzed with life, but it was also a place of great hardship. Black people were relegated to the status of second-class citizens, forced into poor neighborhoods known as townships. Mandela found a small room to rent in Alexandra, one of the poorest townships, and began working as a clerk in a law firm. The work was difficult, but it offered him a first-hand look at the legal system and how it was manipulated to oppress black South Africans. He dedicated his evenings to studying by candlelight, determined to complete his law degree. Mandela's desire for knowledge was insatiable. He famously stated, "I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb." The ANC had been active for decades, but Mandela and a new generation of young activists felt a more dynamic approach was needed. They established the ANC Youth League, which aimed to mobilize the country's youth to challenge the apartheid system. Mandela's speeches were renowned for their power and passion. He spoke of justice, equality, and the urgent need for change. His courage and vision earned him the admiration of many. One of his most memorable quotes was, "It always seems impossible until it's done." While engaged with the ANC, Mandela met a remarkable and intelligent woman named Evelyn Tokomes. Evelyn, a nurse, shared Mandela's dream of a transformed South Africa. They married in 1944 and started a family. Although Mandela was a devoted husband and father, his deep commitment to the struggle frequently took him away from his home. His personal life was complex, as he had to juggle his duties as a father with his role as a leader. He once reflected, There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. In 1948, the South African government enacted even stricter apartheid laws, making life for black people more difficult than ever. These laws controlled where black people could live, work, and even who they could marry. Mandela and his ANC comrades knew they had to escalate their efforts. He was instrumental in organizing peaceful protests, strikes, and marches. He was a proponent of nonviolent resistance, drawing inspiration from the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. Thousands of people joined the movement, putting their jobs, homes, and even their lives on the line. The government, however, met these protests with force. Demonstrators were often beaten, arrested, and sometimes killed. In 1960, a tragic incident altered the direction of Mandela's life. During a peaceful protest in the town of Sharpeville, police fired upon the crowd, resulting in 69 deaths and hundreds of injuries. This massacre sent shockwaves across the globe and led Mandela to believe that peaceful protest alone might not be sufficient. In response, the government outlawed the ANC, compelling Mandela and other leaders to operate in secret. They subsequently formed an armed wing called Umkhonto we Sizwe, meaning Spear of the Nation. Mandela clarified that their objective was not to harm individuals but to sabotage the government infrastructure that sustained apartheid. Mandela became a fugitive. He traveled throughout South Africa in disguise, continuing to organize protests and recruit people to the cause. He also journeyed to other countries to rally support for the anti-apartheid movement. During this clandestine period, he became known as the Black Pimpernel for his skill at eluding capture. But this life was filled with constant peril. He was separated from his family and lived with the knowledge that any day could be his last as a free man. In 1962, Mandela was captured and arrested. He was charged with sabotage, treason, and attempting to overthrow the government. He used his trial as an opportunity to speak out against the injustices of apartheid. In a historic speech from the dock, he declared, "I have fought against white domination and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Mandela was sentenced to life in prison and sent to Robben Island, a harsh and isolated prison off the coast of Cape Town. Life in confinement was brutal. Mandela was made to perform hard labor in a limestone quarry. He was held in a minuscule cell that had no bed, only a thin mat on the floor. The prison guards were cruel, and he was permitted only one visitor and one letter every 6 months. Yet, Mandela's spirit could not be broken. He used his years in prison to study, reflect, and strategize. He even learned the Afrikaans language to better comprehend his captors. He also became a mentor to younger prisoners, teaching them about leadership and the importance of maintaining hope. He once said, "I realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Over the years, Mandela became more than just a prisoner. He transformed into a global symbol of the fight against injustice. Around the world, people chanted, "Free Nelson Mandela." His name was spoken in schools, sung at protests, and displayed on banners. While Mandela was incarcerated, South Africa became a nation under immense pressure. The apartheid government contended with escalating protests, strikes, and international sanctions. Nations refused to trade with South Africa, and prominent musicians like Stevie Wonder and Bob Marley dedicated songs to Mandela. Even from his prison cell, Mandela's influence was profound. He maintained secret lines of communication with other ANC leaders and eventually began negotiations with the apartheid government. Mandela recognized a critical truth. For a true victory, South Africa needed peace, not revenge. On February 11, 1990, the world watched as Nelson Mandela was finally released from prison. He was 71 years old, his hair now gray, but his spirit was as strong as ever. His first words as a free man were, "I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people. Today, the time for the healing of the wounds has come. The time to build is upon us." The streets filled with joyous celebrations. People danced, wept, and cheered. Mandela's release signified more than his personal freedom. It was the dawn of a new era for South Africa. After his release, Mandela was confronted with the monumental task of healing a deeply divided nation. While many sought retribution, Mandela advocated for forgiveness. He met with the same people who had imprisoned him and worked alongside them to construct a new country. He wisely said, "Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies." Mandela rose to become the leader of the ANC and spearheaded the effort to hold South Africa's first democratic election. His vision was simple yet profound: a South Africa where everyone, black, white, Indian, and colored, had equal rights. In 1994, a historic moment arrived. For the first time, all South Africans, regardless of race, were able to vote. People formed long queues, some waiting for hours to exercise their newfound right. On April 27, 1994, Nelson Mandela was elected the first black president of South Africa. His inauguration was a beacon of pure hope, attended by leaders from all over the world. In his speech, Mandela proclaimed, "Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another." South Africa had a fresh start, and Mandela was at its core. As president, Mandela's primary goal was to unite the nation. One of his most memorable actions was his support for South Africa's national rugby team, the Springboks, during the 1995 Rugby World Cup. Rugby had long been considered a sport for white South Africans, but Mandela donned the Springbok jersey and stood with the team, sending a powerful message that unity was achievable. This gesture of reconciliation was famously depicted in the movie Invictus. The film's title was taken from a poem that Mandela cherished, which concludes with the lines, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." After completing one term as president, Mandela stepped down in 1999, demonstrating that a true leader understands when to relinquish power. He dedicated his later years to promoting peace, education, and the global fight against poverty and HIV/AIDS. Mandela traveled the globe, meeting with world leaders, inspiring young people, and reminding everyone of the profound power of forgiveness and determination. On December 5, 2013, Nelson Mandela passed away at the age of 95. The world mourned the loss of this monumental figure. Millions attended his memorial, including presidents, celebrities, and ordinary people whose lives he had impacted. Mandela's legacy extends far beyond South Africa, reaching every part of the world. He taught us that no matter how difficult the journey or how high the obstacle, hope and perseverance have the power to change the world. Nelson Mandela's life stands as proof that greatness is not an inherited trait, but something earned through tireless work, sacrifice, and an unshakable belief in one's dreams. His story reminds us to never give up, especially in the most challenging times. It teaches us that forgiveness is more powerful than hate, and that a single individual can indeed make a difference. Nelson Mandela's life is a testament to the strength of determination, patience, and forgiveness. He endured 27 years in prison for a cause he believed in, and upon his release, he could have chosen a path of revenge or anger. But he chose peace. He demonstrated to the world that even in the darkest of times, we can find the light of hope and love. Mandela's journey was arduous. There were countless moments when he could have surrendered, countless times when life seemed unbearable. Yet he persevered. He understood that change is never easy, but he believed that consistent small actions could lead to a great impact. He showed us that perfection is not required, but that we must never cease in our efforts. Through every trial he faced, whether on the streets of South Africa or in the confines of a prison cell, Mandela held onto his dream of a world that was free, equal, and at peace. And although his struggle was long, it was never just about him. He fought for the future of his children, his grandchildren, and all generations that would follow. Mandela said, "I never lose. I either win or learn." This teaches us that failure is not an endpoint. Each time we stumble, we have the opportunity to rise again. Every mistake presents a chance to learn, to evolve, and to become stronger. No matter how many times life may set us back, we can always find the strength to stand up and continue onward. His life is a lesson that regardless of our origins or the adversities we encounter, we all possess the ability to create change. We can all be leaders, even in the most modest of ways. It doesn't require fame or power like Nelson Mandela's. Every word of kindness, every act of compassion, every moment we stand for what is right, all of these actions are significant. Mandela's story is a story for all of humanity. It proves that no matter how difficult life becomes, we have the inner strength to keep moving forward. You possess the power to triumph over any obstacle. You are more resilient than you realize. So, think of Nelson Mandela when you feel the urge to give up. Reflect on the hardships he faced, the struggles he overcame, and most importantly, how he never stopped moving forward. He allowed nothing to defeat his spirit, and neither should you. Your dreams are worth every effort, and you have all you need within you to make them a reality. Mandela's journey was not just about transforming South Africa. It was about transforming the world, and he succeeded. He inspired millions, and his message will continue to inspire for generations to come. So, let his story resonate within your heart. Never forget that with hope, love, and determination, you have the power to make the world a better place. In Mandela's own words, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." This is where the story of Nelson Mandela concludes, but his legacy continues to live on in all of us. Remember, you have the power to overcome any challenge, no matter how impossible it may seem. Thank you for joining this journey. If you are inspired, consider sharing Mandela's story with others. Together, we can advance his message of hope, unity, and freedom.